Hi everyone, I am Alexandra Bello from Flow Film Festival and Market Interview Series. And today I have Amy Chang with Princess Perfect. It's her short animated film that she submitted to Flow in 2021. And we're gonna talk a little bit about her work and her future. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you're a storyboard artist and animator.
hmm Yeah, so I grew up in California. In high school, I decided that I wanted to become part of the animation industry because of how like lively and exciting it is. And then I attended Ringling College under the computer animation major, and Princess Perfect was my thesis film.
Very nice. So, what can you tell us? What can you tell us about this story that you put together and how challenging it was to put it together?
Yeah. So in our junior year, we have to pitch 8 story ideas to our faculty. And depending on which one gets chosen, we make that for our thesis film. And so this film came from an idea I had where uh, there's a lot of beauty standards, especially within the Korean culture, that women are held up to. And especially, I thought about like my relationship with the beauty standards and my mom's relationship with it. How, like, when I was younger, she would pinch the bridge of my nose to make it taller or like always tell me I had to lose weight and stuff. And I thought, what if a fairy godmother had that magic to turn her daughter into the perfect princess? Um, and the main idea is that if you're holding women up to these high beauty standards, you're not asking for a person, you're asking for an object.
That is very correct. You are objectifying the woman and you are not even allowing individuality. You're just getting a cookie cutter person to fill the blank or whatever, a placeholder. So yeah, it was
Mhm.
very short and very effective. And that's exactly what we need right now in today's modern society, to check these stories out that can convey the message and don't have any blank spaces or any empty spaces in the message, and they can just send you something entertaining and also persuading and informative. So that was very good job on your end. I wanted also to ask you what what is that you love the most about being an animator, and what do you see yourself in the future as?
Oh yeah. So animation is so exciting because you can have such fantastical elements in it. And especially because it's marketed towards a younger audience, it gives you the ability as an artist to like um, tell messages to younger people that you want them to understand in like a metaphor, so that it's easier for them to understand and it's more exciting to watch rather than saying like drugs are bad, don't be racist, don't be sexist or anything like that. And in the future, I hope that I can be a storyboard artist and eventually be a director for a film or a show. I'm working on a show right now with my friends, but we'll see how that goes.
Very nice, very nice. So, what type of stories besides this one? You know, you're not gonna tell the audience exactly what it is because then you'll give it away. But what type of
Mhm.
stories do you like focusing on when you are planning to create things in the future? For example, thinking about your slate in the future.
Yeah. So I believe that I want to tell stories about people who aren't normally heard from or like different perspectives. So my perspective as a Korean American woman, my perspective as a part of the LGBT community, I want to channel that in the creative, like narrative choices that I make and characters that I have to like normalize these kinds of characters and not just be like the token gay, the token Asian, and maybe even like incorporate like the culture in my stories, to just bring more like different myths into the world because we just hear all the time about like Greek myths or Shakespearean things, but why not Asian things?
Of course, of course. And you know, those cultures, they were so strong and they were so dominant for so many years. I do appreciate that Asian culture had a lot of prominence in, in global history. But what is good that we focus on is this modern day storytelling, not necessarily the classical experience or things from the past, but what's happening right now. Because whatever's happening right now, if you reflect it and put it into art, is going to stay for the books, and then other people are going to be able to look into it and see what we were living in 2020, for example.
Hmm. For
So
sure.
yes.
Especially with like last year and or this year, even the Asian hate crimes, like if we had taught people tolerance earlier or empathy from an earlier age, maybe this wouldn't be such an issue. Or, you know, it's not just the Asian perspective only, but like people can connect to feelings, right? Which is what animation does so well. And so maybe you don't know what it's like to be Asian American, but you know what it's like when you feel like you're not good enough, or,
Correct.
when you compare yourself to others.
Yeah. No, but it's also good, to see what it feels like when you're not good enough, and also to show your perspective as with your Korean background, but American living in modern day society or whatever, and what are the issues that you run into. This particular story was about something specific, but I know in the future you're going to be reflecting and turning into storytelling. You're going to turn other issues that you might have run into already, that are already in the back of your head, and you want to talk about it and you want to show it to people, and kind of like send a message subliminally to them, to learn how to be more inclusive, or more loving, or more accepting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's empathy that really brings us all together and makes us realize like we're all humans in the end, and we just need to respect each other.
Yes, that is true. That is very true. And how important do you think that art is for you and for all of us as human beings?
Art is really special. I mean, you can connect to it in so many different ways. Like if you look at an animation or something and like you see characters that look like you can be like, oh, that's me, and this person is doing this and I want to be like them. And if they have positive character traits, then you also think positively about yourself, and you just want to like emulate them or like just have fun also.
That's very good. That's very good. So, what would you tell me, or what would you tell young creatives out there, young creators, about the new way of creating? Right now, we are, you know, distant from each other, and we have to figure out ways to find jobs to create and to keep going with our creative muse and keep it going. What type of advice would you have for people that are out there and want to do the same thing that you're doing?
Yeah, I'd say that like we're so lucky in the modern age to have the internet, so there's so many resources online, classes you can take, books you can read, like articles that people have made, even like YouTube channels and stuff about the industry in general. I was just doing this morning like figure drawing from YouTube, that really helps a lot, and like staying connected with friends and like especially bouncing ideas off of each other, because if you're creating in a vacuum and like a bubble, then you only have yourself, and it's good to get others' opinions and to make your work and their work stronger.
That's very, very important. And how do you feel? Because, like you were saying, you are by yourself sometimes. A lot of people are by themselves, and they're creating their art by themselves, and they have to self motivate and refuel their energy and their creative juices. Um, Besides what you just said, what else can help people stay motivated? Because I myself, as an artist, last year lost a lot of motivation to do anything or to complete anything, whether it was one thing or the other. And some people can be stuck in that zone for a while.
Hmm. Totally. I definitely like after I graduated, I didn't draw for like a month and a half because I was so burnt out and tired. But what got me back into it, or like what's starting to get me back into it, is I read and like watched a lot of shows or like comic books that I really loved just for the fun of it, like not even to necessarily learn anything, just to have that time to relax and remind myself that it's okay not to be creative and thinking all the time. And then now my friends and I get together like once a week to talk about ideas that we had or continue stories that we're making. And that just really helps talking with friends that are also creative and really spurring you on to make things.
And I agree with that. I actually appreciate how powerful people coming together is. It's something that I guess it is meant to be. We are supposed to come in a collaborative effort and come together and encourage each other. It's like almost if we were made to do that. It's not like a one person journey. It's more of a bunch
Yeah.
of people, especially when it comes to art, the majority of the art forms, of course. And it's good that people are listening to different ideas, because you are saturated with your own thoughts sometimes, that you want to just relax and refresh and reset. So when you see other
Mhm.
people's ideas, you're able to just relax for a little bit and be the passenger. And then when you're done, sightsee driving or whatever, then you can get back behind the wheel, because we do get burned out. A lot of artists, they are burned out and they have been burnt out. People don't realize how intense art is. Creating art is very intense and very exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And sometimes I just like writing stupid ideas in my journals and being like, this is a bad idea, but at least I'm getting them out so that maybe better ideas follow.
Well, let me tell you, that's actually a great exercise, because when you get things out of your head and you put them on paper, even if you were going to burn them or something, they stop nagging you here, because they are a call to action that is being presented and brought back to the forefront, just to make sure, hey, you have this idea here in case you wanted to take the next step. But once you take the next step and you write it down, at least your brain thinks that it did its job reminding you, so it doesn't need to remind you anymore. And then you put it on paper, and from there, if you file it properly, you can follow up with it in the future.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Very good, very good. Well, it has been a pleasure talking to you, Amy. Is there anything else that you want to talk about yourself that you haven't said yet?
Um, it was really nice talking with you as well. And I hope that all the creatives out there are, making art and thinking and just like using your voice. Cause I think especially now it's a good time to be your own person rather than following cookie cutter molds.
Yes.
And people value that. And it's important to talk about that because otherwise we get the same type of character, the same narratives. And that's such a boring world.
And we are a little saturated about the old way of storytelling, and even the categorization of types of story types. So this is the shift. This century is the shift between old stories and new stories. We have been recycling for years old stories, remakes, or whatever it is. But now there is a chance to tell the new stories, and that's where we, the younger ones, have to get in the front, kind of like in the front
Mhm.
lines, and start telling different stories, and not necessarily continue to buy those catalogs with the old streamings, and all the media giants are fighting for the same old catalogs and the same old stories. This is the opportunity to tell the new stories. So I want to congratulate you for sharing your stories with the world in such a short and effective way. That is very important. You don't even know how powerful being able to tell something in 2 minutes is. So, well, I guess but animators, like we have had a lot of animations submitted last year, our first year, and this year. And I did notice that animation films were so short and to the point. So I guess you guys are definitely taught way better how to tell a story short and sweet, more than us filmmakers and writers are. So that's good.
Thank
That's
you.
good.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily. We only had 9 months or like even 3 months to animate. So it was just a time thing. There's no way.
That's but I think that's what it is. I think animation is so hard work. Like you have to recreate every little detail to make it come to life, to make the space, the scenario, right? That you have your model in, you call it model or subject, I don't remember.
Model, yeah.
Your model. So I guess you guys only tell the necessary parts of the story, you know, but when you have a camera and you can roll and you're like, you can keep it rolling. I see so many people just doing unnecessary things and then bringing it to the final product. So great job. Like, I think that coming from animation, if you were to direct a film, you would probably do such a great job, especially because you are also a storyboard artist. And when you have a storyboard in film, you know exactly how long it's going to take you to film. So you would probably do a great job as a director as well, because you're very specific and visual and focused. So those are great qualities to have as a storyteller.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure meeting you, Amy, and I'm gonna say goodbye to everyone. I wanna invite you to visit the festival this September 2021, Flow Film Festival and Market. Amy Chang is going to have her short animated film, Princess Perfect. I said it right this time. So Princess Perfect is going to be showing. We don't have the schedule yet, but we will post it. And we are happy that you were able to watch this interview, get to know more about Amy. We're going to share her social media or her information on the post that this is coming up, that this video is coming up with. And I want to remind everyone that this was Amy Chang. I am Alexandra Bello, and this was Flow Film Festival and Market interview series. Bye.